So this is a new color. This is our secondary permanent oxidative hair coloring system that offers everything you want to do, but just ammonia free. So this is one of its main benefits or main distinction from mask Vibrachrome, which has ammonia, very minimal ammonia, but it still has ammonia. So this is an option that we have to clients that would ask for an ammonia-free service. We can absolutely cater to it. Other option is also the look of the color. I find this color is a lot more velvety and rich and deep and looks very saturated without being opaque, because that's not so good. Velvet, think felt. This is the look of it compared to mask, which is a lot more like silk. So very sheer, very multidimensional. So it's simply a different offer that we can cater to different clients according to their desires and likes and needs. This is how the system presents itself. Everything is all white, from the oxidants to the tubes of color and the tube of base cream, which I'm going to talk about plenty. Very important component of our system. So everything is precise. We weigh, we have beautiful scales at Davines to keep perfection and precision and professionalism in our work. And this is our swatch book. So the swatch book from A New Color presents itself this way. So we have a whole bunch of shades. We cover all the basics, all the grounds. You have beautiful coppers and reds and ash tones and golds and chocolate browns, and there's everything you can possibly need. And also a creative family of what we call pure colors to have creative fun and create those funky colors on pre-lightened hair. So these are really interesting. I'm going to talk about them a little later. So benefits are some special things about the system. Permanent oxidative color line, I've said it. Ammonia free, so what replaces the ammonia? We absolutely need an alkaline agent. This is a necessity: alkalinity, pigments, and oxygen. These are three main components that you have to have. So how do we replace the ammonia? We use MEA, monoethanolamine, which is a softer, gentler alkaline agent. It processes slower in a gentler fashion compared to ammonia, which is a gas. So as soon as I combine the cream from the tube and the oxidant using mask Vibrachrome, I get my peak performance of ammonia, which opens the cuticles, frees the oxygen from the oxidant, and then I get my chemical reaction going. The difference here is that MEA is a liquid. It's a lot gentler, it's a lot softer, processes softer, but it's there during the whole processing time to do its job. It will create beautiful lift, it will darken beautifully. We can cover all the basics in the coloring world with an ammonia-free system if a client should choose to want so. The pigments are a natural origin pigments. We use carotenoids for warm pigments extracted from carrots. And we also have another natural melanin which comes from dates to have those darker, bluer, cooler tones. So natural pigments, which provide an antioxidant action, and there's also a lot of vitamin C in our system which also provide antioxidant action, which is something everybody wants. Velvety, rich, deep finish, I just talked about it. It is a lot more like velvet and felt compared to mask, which is more sheer like silk. Darkens and lifts easily, 4 levels of lift, covers up to 100% of grays beautifully. The way A New Color positions itself, just like mask, we enter the core of the cortex. We go all the way down to the cortex and we transform the natural melanins entirely to something else. But also, on the way to the cortex, it's as if the action of the MEA, which is gentler, tends to drop molecules of color a little bit everywhere within the cuticles, which in the end of the process creates that richer, deeper, velvetier finish. It looks more saturated. So depending on who this client is, what does she want, who is she, what does she seem to already have, does she like it or not? So you can either go with mask Vibrachrome or with A New Color to get a different finish. So it's not only based on ammonia or not, but also very much so on the look of the color. Underlying pigments are something crucial when you're doing color. You need to be aware that the color process will generate an underlying pigment. The oxidation process will lift the hair and create underlying pigment. If your client is a level 5 and you wish to color up to a level 8, you will travel through a lot of red and orange to end up with a light orange or 70% orange and 30% yellow as an underlying pigment that you will have to either control or use if you're looking for a warm tone, so you can use it. So this is our scale of underlying pigments. So this is something that you need to always keep in the back of your mind as you're formulating for your clients. What's in a tube of color? So a tube of a new color, the pigment part has 50% base and 50% reflect. So base means these are the level defining reflex and the gray level defining pigments and the gray coverage pigments also. So this is the base, 50% base, 50% reflect, which means that I have a tube of 8.11, which is a level 8 ash. I can cover up to 100% of grays with just that. It is formulated to do so. There's enough base for it to cover and not go too ash either, because it's 50-50. Our base is a violet base in this system. It has this beautiful touch of a mineral feel to the hair. Even though it's a simple natural 0.0 that you're doing, it looks rich. It looks very, very beautiful. And I find the violet tone in the base plays a role in that. So these are our regular shades, like an 8.1, a 5.3, a 734, a 6.4, whichever you want to call. And when I need to cover grays that are resistant, even though the system is programmed to cover grays, sometimes we do encounter some clients that have resistant grays, like very resistant grays. So the only help that we have are the intense naturals. 44.0, 55.0, 880, 990. So those are double the amount of base. So we've definitely increased the amount of base in those intense natural tubes in order to cover grays better. So we include a third of this intense natural for 2/3 of our desired shade to cover the grays that are resistant to a simple neutral shade or simple regular shade, I'm saying. So this is the base part, violet base, 50% base in a regular shade, more base in an intense natural in order to cover grays better. Our reflex, so this is our wheel of reflex. So 0.0, as in any company, is always a mixture of yellow, red, and blue, the three primary colors. It's what you need to mix together in order to create neutral. So 0.0 is a neutral natural color. So 0.0 sits pretty much in the middle, made up of yellow, red, and blue. Easy. 0.1 with a new color, it's our green. 0.1 green reflect. 0.2 violet reflect. 0.3 gold. 0.4 is a copper. 0.5 is a mahogany. And mahogany is always made up of two tones, two reflects, a secondary reflect and a primary reflect. It's made up of violet and red. So we have our 0.5. 0.6 is red, true red. And 0.7 is the opposite of 0.5. It is made up of green and yellow. And we call it beige. I'll write beige right away. 0.7 is beige. It has a bit of control. The reflect, it's yellow brought into green, so it creates a lighter version of green, some control. Therefore, we're going to call it a beige reflect. It's not too controlling. It's not like the 0.1, which is really green. So this is your reflects that are available in the system from 0.0 to 0.7. Now, you probably noticed, if you're sitting at home watching this, you're probably thinking, where's the blue? What happened to blue? So blue does not exist as a reflect within the new color range. So what do you do with orange? You're thinking, right? So don't worry, it works. So our point one, which is our ash within the a new color system, our point one shade is green. What is orange? Orange is red and yellow. So green in the point one will neutralize the red and orange, and my base, violet base, will take care of the yellow. So your orange is taken care of beautifully using a 0.1 shade, 0.11 if you want. We have 611, 811, 1011, so you can control beautifully at any level that you would find orange to deal with. So you have everything you can possibly need to control orange. Do not worry about it because you don't have a tube of blue. 0.1 is your ash, it will control red and orange perfectly. So don't worry about it. So now that we know what we have in a tube, let's look at the other components. So our tube of color that we just talked about, 8.11, half base, half 0.11, contains our pigments, of course, we just talked about it, and it also contains our MEA, our main alkaline agent, monoethanolamine. Second product, which is necessary to complete a color, it is called base cream. So what is base cream? It's a big old tube. It is made up of vegetable grease, which will add conditioning agents to the hair, softening agents, a lot of shine up to the hair will come from that product. Metasilicate. So metasilicate is a secondary alkaline agent, which once brought together with the MEA in the tube of color, will create the proper alkalinity to get a great color result. Lifting or darkening, whatever it is that you want to do. Metasilicate is also known as to be a quartz powder. So it also adds shine because it comes from quartz. So not only it increases the alkalinity, but it adds shine to the hair. We also find vitamin C in the base cream, which is a powerful antioxidant. So yes, we want antioxidants in everything that we eat, so why not put it on our hair? So it is really good for that. Third component is our oxidants. So the white bottles do not intermix using the mask bottles of oxidant, will not work the same, not the same texture at all. So be careful with that. So what is a new color? It's all white, stay within the white system. So our oxygen is located in the oxidants, so we need oxygen in order to create lift and develop the pigments and polymerization. And we also have a whole lot of vitamin C in that product also. So three components necessary to create any color with a new color. The ratio, how we mix them, 1 part of the tube of color for 1 part of the base cream for 2 parts of oxidant. So, examples. 20 grams of color, I will add 20 grams, 1 for 1 is equal, and 1 for 2, that's double, so 40 grams of oxidant. So, let's say it's 30, 30, 60. So on and so forth. Very easy. It's a mathematical ratio. 1 to 1 to 2 is the ratio. So 20, 20, 40, 30, 30, 60, 50, 50, 100, depending on how much product you possibly need. But this is how to use the system. The three components are absolutely crucial. I'm repeating it. Do not skip that base cream because you don't feel like it. It won't work. So it won't process properly. So, oxidants. So our bottles of oxidant contain oxygen, we just talked about it, and vitamin C. So the choice of oxidant is pretty crucial when you're coloring hair to make sure that you go where you want to go. It is your gasoline to go from one city to the next. So it is your way to get there. So 20 volume with the Davides World provides 1 level of lift. 20 volume will give me the gray coverage when I'm above 50% of gray. When I'm below 50% of gray, I will use 20, 30, 40 volume, whichever I need to get where I want to go. 20 volume is also great for a change of reflect. Somebody walks in with a color that's already colored a copper reflect and she wants to be more like a neutral reflect. So change of reflect. There's an existing cosmetic color that you need to switch to something else. Absolutely 20 volume to do so. Darkening. Also coloring natural hair permanently with the system at the same level or darker. You will do so at 20 volume. I would actually not. This is a sheet that I've used in mask a few minutes ago, so I'm sorry I'm recycling, not trying to be that honest. So 10 volume, when I'm coloring hair with a new color, will not be used. It goes way too dark, it's way too heavy. The dye load in the color is really intense. So no 10 volume for darkening or coloring at the same level, you will use 20 volume. 30 volume will provide you 2 levels of lift. 40 volume will provide you 3 levels of lift. And when time comes to do 4 levels of lift, which can happen from level 4 to level 8, you have 4 levels to lift. So 4 levels of lift, I will need to add 000 in the mixture. So this was the ratio for 000 used with mask. With a new color, I will need it to be equal parts. Half and half. So half 000, half of your desired shade at 40 volume will provide 4 levels of lift. So I was saying level 4 to 8, yes. So someone's a natural level 4 regrowth, she wants to be a level 8. Choice of shade would be 8.11 to control all this red and orange as I'm lifting. So half, let's say 15 grams of 000, 15 grams of 8.11 at 40 volume with the base cream, the whole thing, will provide me 4 levels of lift and create my final color at level 8 beautifully. 5 volume will be used with pure colors that I talked about briefly earlier, and we're talking about it right now. So to color pure colors on pre-lighting hair, we need to work at 5 volume only. So 5, 10 could definitely be used with the bleach that we have, as well as 20 and 30 volume. We do have a jar of ammonia-free, a new color bleach. I just don't have it with me right now. It is simple. It is a bleach that we've removed the persulfate, ammonium persulfate from to say that it's an ammonia-free bleach, but it is still a bleach. It bleaches beautifully, no worries. There's other persulfates to compensate. And mixing ratio of the bleach is 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, pretty much depending on texture that you enjoy. So we can provide a full ammonia-free coloring service, from permanent color to bleaching to toning to creating funky colors if we want to use pure colors. Everything can be done ammonia-free. So it is options that we do have. So when it's time to formulate, I know all the ingredients, I know all the components in the tubes, I know what does what. So 0 to 50% of grays, you can pretty much do what you want. So any shade, mixing ratio 1 to 1 to 2. So 1 part color, 1 part base cream, 2 part oxidant, 20, 30 or 40 volume. When I'm coloring natural hair up to 50% of grays, 35 minutes processing time. Above 50% of grays, whoops, sorry, same thing applies, except that I will stay at 20 volume, okay? So 35 minutes processing time, option to go to 40 or to 45 minutes is okay, don't worry about it. If you feel that at 35 it's missing a little bit, keep it going. It's a progressive color, so it will still deposit. And only when it's resistant grays, when you've formulated, let's say, I don't know, you formulated 811 at 30 volume because she's got 40% of grays and you wanted to bring her from level 5 to 8, and you find that you're missing coverage. So then you can add intense naturals, 1/3 of intense natural, let's say 8.0, for 2/3 of your desired shade, 8.11, at 40 volume, let's say, because you need to lift 3 levels. So either like this reflects this scenario, and it can be in this scenario. All you need is 1/3 of intense natural for 2/3 of your desired shade in order to get proper gray coverage when the grays are known to be resistant. Okay? And pure colors. So those pure tones, those pure colors that we have, 3 primary and 3 secondary colors that are available. Indirect pigments, they react like regular hair color. They need a full processing time of 35 minutes. And it's indirect pigments, meaning it also goes all the way down to the cortex. So I've pre-lightened the hair. I can treat it, cure it, care for it. I then blow dry, and I will come back once it's blow dry and apply my desired shade, creative shade, to create all of these 6 different shades. I can intermix all of them together to create whatever you want. Just use your notions of colorists. You know, what can I mix with what it's going to do. So 6 shades are available. We have a representation on the swatch, which is probably not easy to see on the camera, but a darker version, like the full intensity of green, medium, and the lightest version. Fullest, medium, lightest version. So they've given us 3 examples, 3 references of how to mix to get what it is that you want. So full intensity, like the darkest, bluest blue I can possibly have, 1:1:2, the mixing ratio. 30 grams for 30 grams of base cream, 60 grams of 5 volume. If I'm looking for something midway, medium intensity, 0.5:1:2. So my example of ratios becomes 15 grams because it's 0.5 of 30. If this was my starting quantity, let's say. So 15 grams of color for 30 grams of base cream, 60 grams of 5 volume. And if I want to go as pastel as possible, 0.1:1:2. So the example is 3 grams of color, 30 grams of base cream, 60 grams of oxidant. So depending on how much dilution I'm looking for, in my mind, I'm always starting from a full intensity. And from there, I can really create whatever I want. I just know that this doesn't change. I simply lower the amount of pigments. So from 30, it can be 28 or 21 or 12 or 9 or 4 or 3. You really can do whatever you want. So you lower the amount of pigments, but you stay with the same amount of base cream and 5 volume oxidant. Applied, pre-lighting hair, blow-dried hair, full processing time of 35 minutes, and you get those beautiful, beautiful rich colors. And way more, because if you start to mix and you create your own stuff, you can really, it's infinite what you can do. You get the 3 primary colors and the 3 secondary colors, so you're really equipped to go wherever you want to go. So this was a new color.